This is Betsy Kulikowski, best-selling author of the Veritas Codex Paranormal Thriller series, and you're listening to Ghost in the Valley podcast.
Hello and welcome to Ghost in the Valley podcast. I'm your host, Al Cooley. Today I have Harley Black. She is the founder of Haunting the Haunts. I love that. I love that title, man. I mean, I came across that and I said, damn, I got to have her on the show. So, Haunting of the Haunts. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thrilled to have you on. I mean, it's always great to have new guests on and get your ideas on certain topics. And came across your show, Haunting of the Haunts. And first of all, let's get into that. I mean, I love the title. How'd you come up with that?
So I guess it all bases around I haunt the haunted places. I have developed a investigation methodology that's kind of unique, where it's a spirit relationship development. Is what I've titled it. And it's just building those relationships with spirits where kind of like you see an old friend on the street, passing by, but you stop to say hello. Obviously time is completely different there, but they still recognize, who we are when we're there time and time again, like an old friend. And so, yeah, I haunt the haunted places, and that's how I got the name.
Okay, so you are a paranormal investigator?
Correct. Yep. I have a doctorate in parapsychology and a master's in metaphysics.
All right, go
from
ahead.
The Institute of.
You hunt as a team, or are you by yourself, or?
A bit of both. It depends on who has enough courage to come with me to some of the locations. Unfortunately, I have had volunteers come with that leave as soon as they see the first, sparkle or the first bump that's really loud, hightailing it out of there. So it's been hard to keep people on.
I don't have a team. I go out with other people every now and then. I just went on 2 weekends ago. I went to Owensboro, Kentucky, and I was down for a Paracon. And and they've been on my show before, the Backwoods, Kentucky Ghost Hunters. So I says, and they invited me down. I said, I'm going to take them up on it. I was going through that was awesome, man. So I like going to these backwoods, off the beaten path places. Because you feel like a Lizzie Borden house, and I think I've seen a couple other podcasts. I think you were talking about how sometimes some of them are just like overkill. It's like the ghosts and the spirits have been there for so long. It's probably the same old questions, same old thing they get asked all the time. So how do you go in and approach, like, say, a different place, and how do you tackle that? I mean, do you look at the history first? Or do you go in like an open slate and see how it plays out?
I go in completely blind. And here's why, is because I don't believe anybody. Kind of like the doctor's office. Everybody lies to the doctor. Everybody lies to us. And, every single person has, a demon in their home. Like, hands down, as soon as there's activity, it's a demon. We need an exorcism, and it's just cut to the chase. So I tend to just ask people, just don't tell me anything, and let's just see how the night rolls. And for places that have been gone through again and again and again, like an oil towel, I, for instance, will say the Stanley Hotel. You cannot just go in there and just say, bang on the wall 3 times. They're not going to pay attention to you. Mm-hmm. Now, when you go in as the entertainment and you entertain them, you get the best results. And that is when I've gotten full-bodied apparitions. I've been touched in the children's room on the 4th floor. It was fantastic. I got great results. But you have to be different than the rest. And sometimes being outside of the cookie cutter norm, you get a couple of weird looks, but when you get results, that's what matters.
Yeah, you had brought up about a place being, or everybody thinks their place is demonic.
Hmm.
I've been doing this a long time, so I mean, I've come across it maybe twice. I don't deal with that, and I don't know if you do or you don't. I've always had that belief that you have ornery spirits out there or angry spirits. That doesn't make it demonic. When I go in, I always want to debunk the situation. So not everything, like you're saying, like every place you go into, you can't guarantee you're going to get rid of the spirit, and or if they want you to go get rid of the spirit. I hate asking this question, but have you come across anything demonic?
I don't believe so. Now, on the flip side, I have been scratched. I have been punched. I've had my hair pulled. I've left places with bruises. My home currently, I'm not able to live in because it burnt down. And I full heartedly believe that a spirit did it. I believe that I brought something into my collection of artifacts that just didn't mix well in the mixer. And now I no longer have a standing house. But have I ever come across something demonic? Now, when we say demonic, it's not the movie theater, Hollywood theatrical definition, of like this nun with a screaming face. I think that something demonic is going to be very, very engaging, very polite, and very enticing to draw us in. I've never had that experience. I've never had the angry experience like the Hollywood version either. I think that people just watch way too much TV and way too many movies. And which is great because it gives me something to do on the weekends. I can come out to your house and I can hang out with your demon. That is, grandpa that passed away 3 years ago. That's just trying to say hi. And
Yeah,
I love when I can reveal that.
I think we have a lot in common. I mean, I was looking at some of your background, and we're going to get to that, But I mean, when you were saying how you were contact with the apparition of your mother, and you didn't say anything because I've been doing some research, okay, uh, and you didn't say anything, and it kind of bothered you because you wish if you could go back on that period. I'm sure there'd be a heck of a lot of things you'd want to say to mom. I had that same thing with the ghost. I wrote a book, and in my book was growing up in a haunted house. Now I haven't had one of these things where it has followed me for 50 years. So it's like one and done. But see, the 4 or 5 years we lived in this house, and I've seen her the first day we moved in, and the last day we moved out. The apparition was unbelievable. So when you get that feeling or that proof that you're looking right at mom. You're looking right at. I'm looking right at. I called her Alice in my book. I'm looking right at her. Same thing. I didn't say a word. And I wanted so bad to see her before we moved out of that house, and she wasn't showing herself. So, and then she did, and I didn't say nothing. I'm just looking at her. She's looking at me. Bam, she's gone. I wish, looking back, same thing, a little different than somebody I didn't know, and your mother. But, explain a little bit about that. I mean, as a child, losing your mom, that time period, because it's a different time.
Yeah. So I was only 8 or 9 when I actually saw the apparition of her. She died a month before I turned 7. So I guess I would have been 6. And I don't think at the time I fully comprehended the magnitude of what that really meant. I don't know where I thought she was. Maybe she that was still in the hospital or what. But I remember when I saw her, it was just like, what are you like? How did you get here? And why didn't I hear the dogs barking when you came through the door? Because we had 4 dogs at the time and they bark at everything. And I remember that kind of going through my head, but just this speechless, frozen like an icicle moment. And then her dissipating. And I've never like tried to contact her or any one of my family members to like recreate that in any way. If she were to show up, that'd be fantastic. But I've taken that one moment as a lesson, and I will chase every bump in the night. I will touch every sparkle that I see flying in the air. I will run towards any shadow. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm trying to touch it and talk to it. Maybe it's way too much guts, like curiosity's killed the cat. But until something really bad happens, I'm just going to keep chasing.
Well, I read that about you, where most people might be too scared to go into a certain location, you run to it.
Love the worst ones.
Now, I don't mind that if you're with a team and you have some backup, but when you're by yourself, I mean,
You know, so like okay, so we call it Freddy Land, right? When Freddy Krueger puts them to sleep and then he can kill them. And so I know everybody calls it something kind of different, but where you just kind of like zone out and you're just lost in that dreamland for 30 minutes or 2 hours go by and you're just like, holy buckets, where did all the time go?
mm-hmm.
That is what I'm afraid of happening, but it doesn't scare me enough to waver my decisions. Like so right now I'm actually at my son's house, which is right across the street from my burnt down house. And so he doesn't really want to come with me. So after I leave here, I'm going back over to investigate myself. And I was like, if you don't hear from me in an hour, walk over there and see if I'm okay.
Now, you said your house burned down.
It did.
It burnt down? Okay, the house I lived in burned down. That's what I'm saying. There's so much here. Growing up, I was about the same age as you. I was 12 years old. So I never believed in ghosts. I didn't believe in any of that stuff, and back then I'm pretty much older than you. So there wasn't any internet. There wasn't, like I said before, there's nobody I could go talk to. So it was like my time was a different time period. I had my grandmother because she believed in all the superstitions, and I could go to her on anything, and she had my back. You know what I'm saying? My parents didn't, so that was tough. If I mentioned there's a ghost in a house or spirit, which there definitely was, they wouldn't believe me. I'd be grounded for telling a lie or starting up crap again. So it was a different time period. So when you're talking about your mom, and so I think I'm just gathering that's what probably led you into your fascination with connecting to the spirit, to having them maybe say their last goodbye, or what message do they have to give to you? Have you ever moved the spirit on?
So you're completely accurate. That is what drove me down this pathway and just getting answers. I've never personally moved a spirit on. Now, I think I've done cleansing on houses before, but unfortunately that only works when the homeowner stops engaging. And so I've never had, I would quote unquote, a successful house cleansing, but I think that's just more not the spirit wanting to leave, but other people just kind of with a rope and just tug of war back and forth. But I think a lot of the places that I go to, specifically, I love brothels, or what were brothels at the time. Those are just the most fascinating places, and the residual and the intelligent there are the sensations that you get when you walk into these buildings. It is palpable. You can feel it in your bones, just the vibrations coming off of that wood. And those women love to talk. And I think that they want to be there. I don't think they're really trapped, oh, I can't leave because, the madam isn't letting me go. That's just that's home.
What do you think that is? That brothels are so active. I mean, you're not the first person on my show to say I have people from Oklahoma and Massachusetts and all over. Somewhere or along the line, it was either in the basement or it was in the other floor. There was a brothel house, or there was, and that's it's interesting you said that, because what do you think their message or wanting to hang around? Is it to be with each other?
I think personally, so the reason that they're so active is that time period was so chaotic. And I think that those buildings contained the highest of highs, happiness, love, sex, passion. But then you had the lowest of the lows with violence, abuse, rape, and then you mesh both of those together with the stone tape theory. I mean, it just is inevitable that it's going to get soaked into the woodwork. And why they stay there, it's home.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you from my own personal experience with death, I went home. I saw my children. I saw my dogs. I even went into my chicken coop. And anybody that you speak to about me, I love my chickens more than anything in the world. And when I died, It was from an accidental fentanyl overdose. I was working as a recovery specialist for drug and alcohol addiction for adults. And during a random search of personal belongings, what I thought was cocaine, and I was transferring into a biohazard bag, it was actually fentanyl. And I overdosed on it. It was 10 times more than the regular habitual user. And so I had to be Narcaned 9 times, and then they had to do an AED.
Wow.
So it's not that big of a deal. So everyone's like, oh my gosh.
I think it
it
is.
like really wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't at all, because I kept going in and out, and that's why they kept having to Narcan me. And the only reason that they continued was because the sheriff knew who I was, and he was like, she's not a user. Keep going, because after 2 doses, for anybody else, they will stop. Like, you know what? Sorry, buddy, you're just gone. But because that sheriff knew who I was, he kept going. And he was the reason that my life was saved. But when I died, though, and I kept going home, like when I was in my chicken coop, if I'm in there on any other day, they are clucking and flapping. They're very, very upsetty spaghetti that I'm in there. But that night, they were just, they recognized me. They like looked at me, or I felt they recognized me. They acknowledged my existence, but they didn't like care that I was there. And I was just sitting in there, like in their bedding. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like so much room for activities right now. And I could walk around from chicken to chicken. What I thought was walking around, what I thought was movement, but obviously I didn't have my human body, but I didn't realize it because, you know, being like a first person shooter video game like Call of Duty, you don't see your whole body. You're just seeing just through your eyes. So just seeing through my eyes, I'm thinking everything's just where it's supposed to be. It was really weird. It was a really weird experience, but that white curtain was just right. It follows you. And I was like, no, buddy, we are not going there. Do you know how many rides I can get in the front of the line? I don't have to wait anymore if I stay here. I could go to like Valley Fair, which is in Minnesota, and get in the front seat of Wild Thing, and I don't have to wait. Or that's what went through my head.
Well, I think that's awesome. I mean, you feel like you got like a guardian angel or something?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like just the veil like that or what, because it just followed me. And I was like, no, we are not going that way. Like whatever light you are staying away. It was like an iridescent, like rainbow looking thing. Like, no. So I kept walking away.
I had a triple bypass years ago. So I had almost the same experience where I was like headed in. You hear this all the time, like you're heading into the light.
Yeah.
But my thing was I was like floating above like a drive-in theater, and every time I came around, I seen myself, like the history of me. You know how them big lights on the theater shine.
Yep.
So it's like I'm headed into them lights, but it's so warm. You know, I can't explain the feeling. And then that light from the drive-in turns into the light in the ER above me. To me, that's something that it's a feeling that, like you said, you're given a second chance, you know, in life. And I feel like I have a guardian angel. I don't know who it is. I can't tell you who it is, but I've been had so many times in my life that I've been protected. And so that hearing your story like that just blows me away, because I think that many times of being zapped and where they would normally have given up on you, you know, and that's your second shot in life that you're given to come back and help other people, and you're helping by, I think, even these spirits. These spirits were once human beings that walked this earth, you know. And so I look at it as such, not just, you know, fantasy or something. It's, to me, that's how I look at it. Yeah, I love that story, man. I didn't know that. I thought that was something.
I think this is the first time I've actually talked about it, to be honest, anywhere. Yeah. It's not published anywhere, so you got the like exclusive on Harley dying.
yeah, that was, I mean, that really was to me fascinating, awesome.
Yeah, you know, that what you said about like the bright light, like the doctor light, that's kind of like how it started. And I just totally 180'd, like, no. We are staying here. We have stuff to do right now. There are things that I can do. And then as soon as you think it, you're just there, wherever it may be. Like I was sitting on the dogs with my bed, or on the bed with my dogs, and they all acknowledged me. My son and my daughter were playing Call of Duty together, and I was with my son in his room. And then I thought about my daughter, and then I was at her fiance's house with her, and I could hear them talking through the mics. and my son had gotten a brand new like construction like yellow t-shirt. I was like, that's a new shirt. You would never had that before. And he had just gotten it that day while he was at work. So the fact that I knew that, it was like, wow, okay, that really did happen. That wasn't a dream.
Do you consider yourself like a psychic medium or an empath?
I don't classify myself with any title because then there's expectations.
Right, exactly. Mhm. Right. Yeah.
If I feel something, I will say it. And whether I'm right or wrong, I mean, I'll just leave it as it is. But as soon as you title yourself, people really have a lot of expectations. Like, can you tell my future? Can you talk to my grandma?
hmm
And I just, you know what? I don't know if I can, but if she shows up, I'll let you know.
To me, going into a building, my best tool is myself, my body, because I had my own video production company years ago, and I did a documentary, hence Ghost in the Valley, my podcast. So I was like you, I was pushed, uh, ears flicked. I was, so I think me growing up in a haunted house led me into doing that documentary on Ghost in the Valley, led me into my podcast, and getting to meet so many people, great people like yourself, and hearing your story, and everybody has a different way of investigations. And I like when you said you had uh, your degree, and so I'm thinking that a lot of your research would be leaning towards science, facts that way, getting trying to get down to the bare bones truth of not hearsay.
Yeah, it is. So nobody believes you by your word of mouth anymore. Anything you say is got to be a lie. So if I can show you actual scientific data with actual scientific like tools that people use out in, a lot of it, which is super weird, a lot of it is just construction tools, like the tri-field needler, the thermal cameras, the IRs, like all that stuff is used in construction. And so right now with my house being rebuilt, I'm just over there like, hey, Hunter, what new tools do you have over here that I can play with? Just to see if it will register anything. And so I have kind of been playing with his level a lot, and so I know it's a level surface that he has set up, but you can watch the bubble go back and forth on a level surface, which is really, really interesting. So that means something has to be manipulating that level. And so
hmm
that's really what I'm playing with right now. But there's, that's scientific proof that like beforehand the table was level. There's no way that it would be off, kilter just sitting there.
And the spirits are all energy. It all runs off of energies.
Right.
And I learned that when I was a child. My great grandfather was digging a well, and that's the first time I've ever seen anybody use any type of dowsing rods. But he used the like a pitchfork branch, and it just went down. It took him a while, but he found the spot where he was going to dig his well. Years later, now, my friend of mine, he was working for a power company, and they found the gas line by not the stick, but they had the equipment where you can find water, electric, gas, and now even the body penetrating radar they can find bodies that are buried. And sometimes I've heard they can even tell the sex by if the meter goes this way north, it's a male. This way, it's a south, it's a female. I don't know, but man, I mean, technology is getting so deep with all this equipment. So my question to you is, what's your favorite piece of equipment that you like to use?
The SLS camera,
Okay.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
And here's why, is because I'm a super duper nerd. I am a gamer through and through. Like you put it in front of me, like I will game out for hours. And so with the 360 Connect, when you're playing a game of Just Dance, for instance, right? And it maps out, so it can have up to 4 players for the Xbox 360. And so when you have 3 people lined up, but then there's a 4th person that is mapped in and there is nothing there. And then all of a sudden the game starts, it's still mapping in that 4th person. And now that 4th character is gaining points. It is just remarkable. And so then when they like reverse engineered it with the C++ so that we could actually see it and then get the software onto, our laptops and everything, there's, 27 or 26 points that the camera maps out to map a human body. It will not map out any animals. Now, there are false positives with like a coat rack or like the railing of a bed. But when there's nothing there and all of a sudden the figure shows up, that is just fantastic. And that's that proof that I want to show the world.
Isn't that cool that you can see it yourself and you're part of that?
It really, really is. It's groundbreaking. And then, you're still going to have skeptics, which I love.
Always, yeah. I never go in and try to tell somebody they have to believe this way or that way. If they say they don't believe in ghost or spirit, I'll say, God bless you, man. Because that means you didn't have to go through the crap I went through or other people I know. You know what I'm saying?
They've never experienced that frozen like an icicle hanging off the edge of a roof where you are just frozen right there. You're not going to move an inch. And that's why I like to parallel it to is like that icicle that's just dripping down. It's just stuck right there. That's how it feels. It's just in complete motion, like a photograph. That's that fear. And if you've never experienced that yourself, like, amen. I'm very, very happy that you've never been that scared in your entire life. Because it's not fun. I don't think anybody ever can say their very first paranormal experience was like the greatest thing ever that they've had. It was so phenomenal. And being like witness to a lot of people experiencing it for the first time, especially during events, that very first time that something happens that generates in their soul, like, oh my gosh, this is real. And then they're literally defecating on themselves in fear. It's almost like rejuvenating for me, like, told ya. But then at the same time, like, I feel so bad that, that they're experiencing this as well. But I don't wish it on anybody really. But I want to show you the truth in a safe, secure setting for the other people.
To me, the paranormal is the unexplained. So, and that's why I don't think there's any experts in the paranormal. That's my opinion, because there's always somebody out there that's better. There's always somebody out there that knows more. And that's why I love my show, man, because I learn on this show all the time. I would never say I'm the expert on this or that, but I do love learning, and sometimes I'll be proven wrong, on some of my beliefs. So are you locked in just on your field, or are you like checking out some of the other stuff?
So as far as UFOlogy goes, I do not have any interactions with star people or UFOs or anything to do with aliens. And I can tell you why. Is because if I'm out looking for Bigfoot, I can bring a rifle with me and I can shoot him if he tries to attack me. The ghosts and spirits, I have, prayers and holy water, a rosary. I can protect myself. I cannot protect myself from any other life force that isn't on like our earth. Mm-hmm. There's nothing, like, they're not going to care if I have a gun. They don't care if I have holy water. And so that just scares me beyond belief. Now, do I believe that there are people or entities out there? Absolutely. I believe enough not to go mess with them. As far as cryptids go, I've traveled this country quite extensively. I 100% believe that there is a boatload of stuff out there that we just haven't discovered yet, or that doesn't want to be discovered, because there's a lot of areas in just America alone that is inaccessible by humans. Just the terrain is just way too rough for anybody to get out there. And so could there be a Bigfoot? Probably. Mothman? I mean, there's a statue of him here in Minnesota in Stillwater. Apparently he caused the 35W bridge collapse. I don't know, but I mean, if he shows up, I'll say hi.
Do you see the vastness of space? So in other words, what's possible, when you start looking at things like that, and how vast universe is, and we're just a speck, See, growing up, I had experiences with ghosts, with spirit. I didn't really believe in UFOs because just something I didn't deal with. But my friend, now at the same time, we're going back to 1967, which is way back. He believed in UFOs, so he was having telepathy with aliens.
Okay.
How could I say he's crazy or he's wrong when he could say the same thing about me. So all my guests that come on my show, I never question it, tell them that didn't happen or I don't believe that, It's not my place to say that. So I know what I experienced. You know what you experienced. So no matter what somebody says to you that you were crazy or that never happened or you didn't see your mom, it was just a dream, you know what you saw. There's nothing going to change that.
Right now, I live in the original train station so I live in like pretty much like a village. It's called Dassel. There's less than 2,000 people here. And the train station that used to like go through this town, the passenger one, was then moved out to a farmhouse that was built in the 1800s. And so I'm currently living in that train station that that the homeowner transformed into like a living apartment, essentially. And she rents out her land all the way around here. It's 100 and some acres to local farmers to farm it. And so right now they are harvesting all the corn. And all these people know what I do for a living. They all think I'm a little bit crazy, which is fine. And so today, actually, one of the farmers, and they like harvest their corn from dawn until the wee like hours in the morning, like 2, 3 in the morning. And the farmer came up to me, and he's probably like 85, 86 years old. And he's like, I got to talk to you. Like, okay. And I thought like one of my vehicles was in his way. He's like, no, I saw a cigar in the air last night. And I said, what? And this is just a straight flute type of guy, like no nonsense. And he's like, I saw a cigar in the sky. I don't know what's going on. What do you think about this? He's like, I know you deal with all that spook stuff. And I was like, is this the first time you've ever seen this cigar? He's like, no, I see it every year, every harvest. I just told him like from my knowledge and what I've been told and what I've learned about you're staying like a spacecraft of some sort with some sort of intelligent life on it. And so that's kind of going around our area right now. And I guess a lot of the farmers or all the buzz at the cafe is this cigar shaped craft that is right over the top of all their cornfields.
I couldn't tell you the amount of times if I had a dollar for everybody told me I was crazy, I'd probably be as rich as Elon Musk, but it never bothered me. It just, it's the unexplained. I was going to ask you, do you believe like in haunted dolls or like the place?
I know, I'm just starting laughing already. I own quite the array of dolls and objects alike. Awesome. And that's how the fire started. So I'll tell you. So a New York art gallery dealer messaged me on Facebook and told me they had a box that was causing issues. They didn't want it anymore. They thought it had some sort of ghost in it. I'm like, okay, sure. Gave them my address. I got the box and it stayed in the packaging for 3 months. I had the K2 next to it, the millimeter, and the EMF was off the charts. We're talking like 50, 60 milligauss. The EVPs that were coming off it was telling me to kill myself, to get out, to open the box. And of course, curiosity kills the cat. I did film the opening of the box. And when we were just about to get the last piece of tape off, there was an EVP in this video. I was like, open. And obviously I didn't know that at the time. But once I got the packaging all off, it is a exact carbon copy of the original Dybbuk box. 100% the same. Wow. And it has caused just as many problems, I think, as the original. But it coming into all the rest of the other stuff that I have, I think it really is what turned it topsy-turvy. Because that box was actually in the room where the fire started. It is unscathed. Like there is not a mark on it, not anything. There was a bit of soot, but that's it. But I also had a sad boy painting on the opposite side of the house that did not have any burn marks on it whatsoever either, but the entire room was in complete flames. So I don't know if those two things got together and like started it. It's way too peculiar because in that room where the fire started, there was no power in that room. The house was built in 1910. And so it was like a breakfast nook. So there's no lights, no outlets, nothing. All that was in there was a boatload of liquor bottles, absolutely full, just because I liked how the bottles looked. I don't actually drink them, or I didn't actually drink them. And so I essentially just made a bomb for these spirits to set off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I can't tell the
Yeah.
insurance company, like, hey, State Farm, by the way,
Oh, yeah, but,
this
yeah.
box over here, pretty sure. I
Yeah.
just sat back and was like, I have no idea. And so, even in the official, like, fire marshal's report, it is the cause is unknown.
Because it took me back to last year. I went out to a Paracon in Virginia, right? The booth next to me, the lady had a haunted doll. And my wife kept telling me, do not hold that doll. I held the doll. I'll have to send you the picture of the doll. Harley, when you hold a baby doll, you know what a baby doll feels like.
Yep.
This was a baby. This was the weight, the warmth, the texture, everything of a baby. Just sent chills through me. So I gave the doll back to her, and everybody at that Paracon that knew her was saying, "You didn't hold the doll, did you?" I said, "I held the doll." I asked you about the haunted doll, and you kind of connected with that, So
Absolutely. So I'm the weirdo that walks into the thrift store or the antique shop with the K2. You can see where this is going. As soon as it spikes, I'm like, yeah, but that's what I need here. Again, this is why I don't currently have a home. So listeners beware, don't do what I do. And see, here's the messed up part though. Is I still own the box and the painting. They're they're just currently in my barn and not in the house because the house is under, like, it's being rebuilt right now. But I have absolutely no intention on getting rid of it at all. I really just want to talk to it and just, like, stop telling me to die, stop telling me to get out, and all these other, like, shenanigans. And, like,
most people had already got rid of the box. You know that most people already got rid of that box. It would have been in the fireplace or in a fire pit. No, but you're going to go ahead and.
I keep trying to talk to it. I'm persistent, and he just tells me to F off, go F myself, go die. And I'm like, no, sir. Okay. We've already been through this. Mission accomplished. I F'd myself yesterday. Now let's talk. And he's just kind of like a broken record at this point. So we're just going to keep trying, and hopefully we will eventually break through the barrier of, you're just not going to cuss me out and, like, this isn't going to be done with.
You'll have to let me know what happens to that box. I mean, pique my curiosity now.
So I was talking to Get Haunted Midwest. I have a tour with them on November 1st at the Rock Island Roadhouse in Rock Island, Illinois. And so he's like, so you opened the box? And I was like, well, yeah, I opened the box. Why wouldn't I open the box? I want to have a box and not open a box.
Right.
He's like, that poor man, his face just went ghost white through the Zoom conversation. And he's like, I was like, it's okay that I still come, right? And he's like, are you going to bring anything with you? I was like, well, I'll tell him the box to stay home, but can't tell him, like, ensure that he's not in the, like, booster seat in the back. I don't know. He's like, please just, do a cleansing before you come to our event. I'm like, oh, am I really that scary? Like,
I must be worried about you now.
Like, but I travel around us all these different places. I don't ever run into like the same spirit, like, again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there isn't like a Timmy just, like, at my hip. It's always different entities. And but when it, like, the haunting the hunts, like I said, I go back to these places time and time again where I'm on a first name basis with a lot of the spirits there.
Mm-hmm.
And, for instance, the Thayer House in Annandale, Minnesota, was a brothel. Al Capone stayed there for a long time. But the actual founder and owner was Gus Thayer. And Gus, he will say my name, like, as soon as I get there, like, Harley, hi. And he will black out the SLS camera completely so that you can't see any figures, you can't map out anything at all. And he does it every time, and he'll drop the temperature down to between 15 and 20 degrees.
Wow.
Like, so that the temperature is reading 15 and 20 degrees. And obviously in the hotel, it's, 60, 70 degrees. It's very, very comfortable in there. But for him to just drop it like that instantly is not only just spectacular, but that's that evidence. And I can, like, see, look, here is the actual video of the temperature just plummeting. And that's on, like, like a mercury stick thermometer or just the gun laser one, which is really, really cool.
Well, evidently they must think you can carry some stuff with you. So do you believe you can carry a spirit with you?
I think if he wanted to come along, he could, but I would think he I don't know. I'm not that interesting for him to follow me. I think he's just happy in the barn right now. Because you can really, when you get near this box, you can. This is so awful. I'm just
I probably
digging
get near it too.
myself my
Yeah.
grave. Let me grab my shovel here as I say this. But you can really feel that energy rating off of this box when you go to open it.
When I heard that, did you run towards the?
I do. But like when you grab the handle, because you have to open it from the drawer, right? The drawer pulls out, the doors open, but you can. It's a metal handle. But you can feel the warmth on that handle. In the barn, there's no electricity. Obviously, the whole house doesn't have electricity right now. There's no heat in the barn ever, but that handle is warm. And it's like, huh, alrighty then. But yeah, I still open it, and
Yeah,
you can feel it though. And I think he just stays there.
you weren't supposed to open. So you can open the box. You're going to keep the
Yeah,
box. You keep it in your barn. You're
I
going to go back
do.
out there and you're going to investigate this thing until you get the answers that you want.
I am. I am.
Yeah,
I can't help it. I
that's
can't. So
right.
I get it.
I can relate to that. So
It's like when you're in like a, like a like state park or something like, oh, don't pick the flowers. Well, you should not have put that sign there, sir. Okay, because now what am I going to do? I'm going to go pick the flower. If there was no sign telling me not to do it, then I probably would have just left that dandelion alone. But because now there's a sign, now I'm just like, I'm compelled to do it. Maybe we're the demons. It's not really there's like a spirit like out there that you can't see. It's just we are the demons in itself. Because what lunatic is like, oh, there's a sign that says not to do this. I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm going to. Let me find the first flower, like running through the park like a crazy person.
yeah,
If you wanted a little insight into my psyche.
I like that. You're exciting. You'll be
I
the most
just
exciting person on like an investigation team. I'll tell you that.
here's the thing. I want to leave a life lived. That is like the motto I live by. Because we are fragile beings. It's just, we're just a very thin hair from being here to not here. And after experiencing it, there is no way I'm going to leave my life unlived. I
That's
want to
awesome.
experience everything, touch everything, piss off as many things as I can,
Yeah, you go
and
for it.
just keep going.
All right, before we get off here, I want to ask you, what's on your bucket list that you haven't investigated yet and you want to investigate it? Or,
Pavia,
yeah,
Italy. Yeah, Oh, and I know you can't do it, and you have to have like $1 million. So I'm like sneak around the backside with like a little dinghy boat. I don't I don't condone B&Es, okay? I don't. But for my personal self, like I'll totally do a B&E on that place and get down there.
I would love to do Italy. Mine is Italy. Mine is the Vatican,
Oh my gosh, I never even thought about that.
the basement of the Vatican.
Oh
'Cause
goodness.
I heard so many stories. I mean, from priests that have been there, and it's one of these things that just they never talk about,
They
and
don't.
no, and usually most things with the church, they don't want to talk about it. That was another thing I going to get on before a few minutes here. Is growing up in a church, they never talked about the paranormal. Then, if you talked about the paranormal or something haunted or anything like that, you're going to go straight to hell. You're going to burn in hell. Stay away from that. Stay away from people like that. Even to this day,
Mhm.
Catholic Church does not talk about exorcisms yet. They'll go out and they bring in people like Bishop James Long, who is a demonologist, who they pay to go into exercise homes. That naturally they got to rule out any type of mental health or stuff like that. But say this or that didn't happen there when it did. Churches are huge on hauntings, especially if you have a graveyard on site of the church. Extremely. So they don't talk about it. And they don't want you talking about it. I like that answer. Italy.
So the best place I've ever investigated, hands down. So I have the Boo Bear, right? And so you have to actually physically touch this bear with your hands, not with gloves on, like actual fingertips, for this thing to alarm. You put it on like a chair and you could rock that chair around like it's in a tornado. It doesn't do a dang thing. I had this thing for probably 3 or 4 years. Never once made a peep on any investigation with kids, grown up. It didn't matter. This thing never sounded off. But I always would set it out. The sweets hotel in Leroy, Minnesota. It is just like a stone's throw from Iowa. And not only did the Boo Bear finally go off there multiple times at night to the point where I had to shut it off because the alarm is so stinking annoying. I got the best evidence there. So the owner leaves. There is no staff there whatsoever. And so you're left alone with you and your crew. Well, my bright idea was I'm going to go here 2 days before my crew shows up and be left alone in this building all by all by myself. I'm not going to lie. I understand that this is completely irrational, but I locked myself in the bathroom thinking this will be safe. And I stayed there all night long for the 2 nights I was there by myself because I was so scared because of all the banging and noises that were going on, all around me all the time, the voices. But then once my crew got there and all this stuff was acting up, then of course I'm like a peacock and I puff up all my feathers and I'm brave as the Dickens and just taking on everything like gung ho. But by myself, I'm a super cowdy custard, and I locked myself in the bathroom.
Now, do you do any type of rituals before you go in and go out? I mean, any prayers or?
I was born and raised Catholic. I'm confirmed Catholic. I do not go to church at all. I'm not gonna lie. That's just not really my jam. But I do pray the rosary before every single investigation, and then I bubble up, which I'm sure everybody kind of knows that, just the affirmations for yourself. And I have done investigations where I haven't done any type of protection. And like I said earlier, I've been hit, I've been scratched, I've been punched, my hair pulled. And that was kind of the result of not protecting myself. But I think if you can overprotect yourself, though, and then if you sage yourself, then you get no activity the entire night and it's just super boring and you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs. Yeah. I don't know why, but it has proven itself time and time again where if I do sage, game over. Just go home.
Yeah, my sister, she's a pastor, so she tells me to go in and do the protection prayer before and after you leave somewhere. There is a God. There has to be a God, so and everything is with energy, That's why I think that's where the spirits come from. And so I'm a big believer in that.
I'll leave you with this. I don't care who you believe in, whatever your higher power is, whatever book you read. There is not one of these higher powers that ever say, I'm Catholic, I'm Lutheran, I'm whatever it is. Never, ever in any of these books. Just that little tidbit I'm going to leave you with, So they are just who they are, whatever you call them by.
Well, thank you very much. You be careful going back out there and, you say you're going to go investigate right after you leave here?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm right across the street right now in my son's apartment.
Oh, okay.
So I'm literally just my son. Yeah, when he moved out of the house, he did a very, very soft move. And so he's 100 yards from the burnt down house.
Be careful and be careful with that box too,
Oh yeah. I'll handle it carefully.
Thank you very much, Harley Black. Talk to you again in the future and catch up on your box and all your other hauntings.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Harley Black, for being on the show. Harley Black from Haunting the Haunts. I'll tell you what, I love that title, Haunting the Haunts. You think you're going to haunt me? I'm coming after you. That's Harley. She's running into the fire. She ain't running away from it. She's going to run into her and see what's going on. What caused this? That takes gumption. I love having her on the show. I'm sure we're going to talk again. I got to find out what's in that box. Harley Black, thank you very much. I'll see you 2 weeks with another great episode on Ghost in the Valley podcast. And I'm your host, Al Cooley. And happy Halloween.